Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 139 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. I'm your host, the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex, and joining me today is one of my usual suspects and a very special guest. I'll start off with you, though, Barry. How are you doing in your lay-by?
I'm good, thank you. Disappointed that I got knocked out of the cup, but the dream's over. So never mind, we go again.
How does it feel to not win a trophy for the first time ever in the podcast history?
To be honest, my arms would get a bit heavy lifting up the trophy all the time. So I thought I'd give someone else a chance to do it this year.
Well, it's very, very kind of you. And joining us today, very special guest, fifth in our league at this very moment in time, Sam Danby Bailey. Sam, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks very much for having me. Doing very well. It's been since you guys have started saying my name on the pod every week, I've started doing terrible, so I appreciate that.
It is the curse of the podcast. That's why I try not to read Scott's name out every week because he gets really annoyed about it. But there you go. Hopefully Scott will be joining us later on when he finishes work. Yes, he does have a job. Everyone who's listening, he does. He has a real life job. Right, manager of the week. Two people to shout out this week. We have a man called Martin Murray, who is currently, I think, 28th or 29th, I think like something along those lines. 78 points. He did take a -4 and he did play his bench boost, but he did get the top scorer overall this week. 79,000th in the world game week rank. Pickford, Guardiola, Byrne, Milenkovic, Mikalenko. He started in Bazon like you. 8 Nuri, Bruno Guimaraes, Eze, and Bumo. And he got 78 even with captaining Haaland, which didn't work out for anyone this week. Bench boost: Flecken, Salah, Evan Nilsson, and Enzo. So he ended up getting a bench boost of 14 points, which isn't too bad. Hoping to get maybe somewhere near a 20, but there you go. And I've also got to give a shout out to the net manager of the week, who also didn't play any chips. Marco Marinelli. Nice to shout you out again, Marco. 77 points. Areola, go with the tip. Always go with the United fans tip. Bet against United for the rest of the season. Everyone, 100%. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Guardiola, Livramento, Conser, Eze with 16, Rogers, Salah, Sarr, and Bumo captain, Marmouche. And he went for Chris Wood up top. So well done to you, Marco. Let's have a look at the top of the table. Ali, send me a message, mate. How are you feeling? Back to back, 20 points clear with 2 weeks to go. If you could have written it, this is basically dream scenario. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're still in the cup into the semi-finals, on for potentially a double. What a season! Is it luck or is it skill? Everyone's least favourite teams in second place, FPL Hardcores, 20 points behind. Baz, is this your only shot at winning a trophy now? Are you
It
still in the
is,
cup?
yeah. To be
Hardcore
honest,
still
yeah.
in the cup as well, though. You still got a shot at the
They
double.
are, yeah, yeah. I think they're against Ali, to be honest. Or no, they're against David Byrne, Martin, who I got knocked out against.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
so
on, Dave. Back-to-back
revenge.
weeks of knocking Baz out. Come on, Dave. Can you imagine? Gavin Webb there in third place, only 22 points behind top. Heather Howcroft in fourth place. Shout out again to top performing woman again this season, smashing it in fourth place and beating Jack as well, who's down in sixth. Sam in fifth place. Sam, how are you feeling in fifth? You're 50 points off the top. There's 2 weeks to go. Is it dream over? Are you gonna go? Are you gonna gamble? How are you feeling about your position?
I'm in quite a few leagues where I'm doing all right. So I typically overcompensate in a particular league to try and win it and end up ruining it. So I think I'm going to play safe still. 2 weeks ago, I was at the top and now I'm 50 points behind. So it would have been better if it was the other way. But I'm going to play it safe. I'm not going to do anything silly.
Fine. We'll have a little look at your team in a second, but I want to just have a look at the cup first of all because semi-final time in the Podcast League Cup. It is game week 37, and of course I'm not in it anymore. Why would it ever think that on the screen in front of me? There we go. David Byrne against FPL Hardcores, and league leader Ali Farrell against FPL veteran Jeffrey Belcher. Jeff, you stand in the way of Ali Farrell getting to the final potentially for a double, and then Dave Byrne. Imagine if it's a Farrell Hardcores final and it's you two top two going into the last week of the season. I mean, how lucky do you have to be, mate? What went wrong for you in the cup then, Baz?
Well, I didn't start Mikalenko, and so that was one of them. But I had quite a strong defense. I thought Williams was my letdown, and I thought that was my banker. To be honest, I think the Midlands derby was the downside, and Forest just didn't perform in that game. But obviously, we're looking at the form recently. You'd think Forest would probably be where we thought. To be honest, not doing very well.
Yeah.
So, and the Wissa gamble over Wood that cost me a lot, and I captained Wissa who got 1 point for his
Yeah.
overhead kick and nearly decapitating someone. So yeah, that was a bad shout.
No,
So
but interesting. You think it's a bad shout? We had this conversation. I made no transfers this week. One reason because I forgot. And then second reason is, second thing I would say is because I didn't really feel like I needed to make a move. I sort of gambled to keep Mateta instead and see because I think Spurs are just terrible. I'd have gone for Visser over Wood. And I know that turned out to be the wrong decision in hindsight, but with the two fixtures that are remaining, and also in terms of form, I still think personally, I know it didn't work out right, but I still think it was the right decision. I'm interested in your take on that, Sam, because we had the debate on this last week in terms of which one we should have picked. Without taking into account last week's obviously scores and Wood being the right decision, where did you sit on it?
Wissa. Wissa is he's been pretty consistent. Wood's been a little bit off the ball. Um, I think also you've seen Forest look a bit leggy, so I think they've been struggling to get points. Also, if anything, you've also picked the wrong Brentford player, right? Because the other two who particularly would have been expected to do well did score or kind of got a return. So I think it was just a bit unfortunate that he was the one that really didn't get anything in the game. Yeah, other than a yellow card.
Yeah,
Bad decision.
yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't beat yourself up too much about that, Baz.
I watched the highlights as well, and I think he hit the post or crossbar or something. I think if I can remember rightly. So I was like, oh no. And then Mamouche hit the crossbar as well. So yeah, it was one of them. But hey, it is what it is, and
Yes. And obviously you got knocked out. Sav, well done, great run for you, as well as Nicola getting knocked out by 1 point. That's brutal. And to Jeff Belcher and Gavin Webb going out as well. So last 2 weeks of the season, let's do that. Let's do that first, shall we? Fixtures, and let's go look at the FDR. How are you looking at this, Sam, for the last 2 weeks of the season? Are you looking at the teams that are in form so much, or are you looking at the teams to target playing against? How are you approaching this last couple of game weeks of the season?
Yeah, a bit of both. I think teams that are in form but also have a little bit to play for. I think that whether could be they're playing yeah, teams in form. Are they playing against United or Spurs? And do they kind of are they still got anything to play for? So I've kind of picked out. I know kind of might not be the main ones, but I've looked at teams like the Chelsea's, the City, Forest, teams we probably want to finish on a high. And also Brentford because they kind of are in a little bit of form, doing very well, returning points, and they're in and around the discussion up there as well. Kind of avoiding the ones that typically may look to be, I've nothing to play for unless it's pride. I mean, Arsenal and along the lines of those. Um, I've got some good players. They probably want to try and stay in second also. Otherwise, it might be seen as a complete write-off.
Yeah.
It's not already.
You're looking at sort of second down to ninth, aren't you, really, in the league, or maybe pushing 10th, aren't you, to those sort of nine teams to see, because that eighth place could still be European football, couldn't it? So, uh, Brighton, Brentford, and the other team that begins with a B, I think, are the ones who could be. I'll tell you what, I'll look at Bournemouth. There you go.
Hmm.
That was the other one. They're the other ones between. They've got 2 points across them to see who might potentially be able to come in that position. But yeah, I do agree with that. So getting that perfect blend, we've got Aston Villa, who've got to be a team that we're looking at. They play Spurs and Man United. Uh, Whether United win or lose the Dog and Duck versus the Red Lion Europa League final, um, we will get beat in the last game week of the season. We will have a hangover from that match, and we don't have the mentality to do very well. So I personally believe that, crazily enough, you look at these fixtures, you look at maybe like Ipswich's fixtures, Leicester and West Ham or whatever else, 16th and 17th in the league. I think Villa are absolutely the team we should be investing in this week. I think they're top of the list. It's one of the reasons I didn't move for Watkins last week. I think I'm going to move for him this week, actually, across the front line. You make your way down. Brentford, like you say, in form, won the last four. They've got Fulham and Wolves, who are two teams that are, well, potentially on the beach. Wolves have lost the last two since they've played proper sides because they went on a good run because they had some great fixtures, didn't they? And Fulham are one of the weirdest, most inconsistent teams in the league across the board. We'll start with those two. So, first question to you, Baz. Brentford. Sam mentioned it. Double up on Sharda and Bumo in the midfield above going for Vissa? Or what do you think? Who are the ones you're picking? Because it's those three, isn't it, that you're going to be buying?
Well, Shard is the one in form. He's got double digit feet um,
Return.
returns, hasn't he? So he's got like 11, and I think he got 15 the week before. So he's the one in form. But we know by Sharda's experience from previous seasons that he has spells. So is this spell going to last till the end of the season? So it's a tricky one on that. He's only a very low ownership as well. So it could be good to get that differential in, hence why I'm the king at that. So it's one of them, and he's the cheaper option. So if you're looking at how much throughput is in, his form's 8.8. So it is, and we don't know what Mbumo's is compared to him, but there's what, how much difference?
7.8 is form. So there's 1 point form and there's 8.3 against 5.2 million. So he's 3.1 million cheaper. So it's a massive amount.
Exactly, yeah, and you can reinvest that in your other team. Like for example, if you want to upgrade Mateta to Watkins, for example, there's your money saved there if you've got two free transfers. So yeah, for me, it would be Kevin Schade, but I'm a bit careful with that because of his previous form. Has he run out of steam because he's got an 8, a 14, and an 11? Is he just going to get a 2 and a 3 maybe? But hopefully I'm wrong, and he's definitely someone that I'm looking at because Moreno got sent off, and I've got a Moreno owner, so that could be my transfer.
Yeah, same question to you, Sam. He doesn't play 90 minutes, Shard, as one thing, but does he need to? Who would you be going for? Two out of the three.
I think always depending on where you are and what you want to do the last couple of weeks. I think while I've been kind of stood at the top of the most of the leagues the last few weeks, what I've seen is everybody around me getting Invisa and Mbomo. And it's been a little bit frustrating. So I think if you want to find someone in that group that could be a little bit of a differential and get you some points that maybe others might not get, then I would say going with him. But if you want to kind of protect and you haven't got them already for some reason, then I would probably say bringing in Invisa and Mbomo instead.
Yeah, I agree. If I'm top of the league, I'm probably bringing in Visser and Mbumo. If I'm chasing, I'm bringing in Sharda and maybe Visser. It's just the differentials, really. Yeah, I mean they're all in great form. There's an argument to have all three, if you can get them. With when you're looking at the rest of the season, we've only got 2 game weeks left, haven't we? So why not? Baz, give us a shout out to the defenders, or is it time to buy Flecken?
Well, he could potentially be up there, but I'd probably be looking at how Pickford played against Fulham. I think he's probably going to be on top of the people shopping list. Same with Martinez as well. I think they're quite high in value for goalkeepers, but they're returning. So that's one of them to look at. And you can't grumble at Coyote, 0.1% owned now, so he's gone up, and he takes long throws, so that could potentially be an assist, especially with Nathan Collins on the end of him as well. So, or Whistle with his bicycle kicks. So yeah.
Nice shout out. Anyone stand? Do you think Coyote maybe stands out to you? Maybe there's Sam.
If I was going to go for one, I'd probably stay there, but I would probably focus on the front three.
Yeah, 100%. You got 2 game weeks left. You don't want to be wasting transfers on defenders and goalkeepers, do you? Really? At the end of the day, unless you've got
Unless you got a wild card.
yeah, unless you've got a wild card, and also maybe if you're like, if I'm trying to upgrade a player for a bench boost, that I might be, you know what I mean? It's that sort of
Well,
territory.
some people still got free hits. I know Ben Steers is using his free hit this week. So yeah. So
He's using it this week instead.
yeah.
I like the look of next week for free. If I had two left, I think I'd be going in 38 personally. That's but
But he's got
still,
I think he's got a wild card left as well. So
has
for
he been
free hit.
asleep? Has he been asleep for about 8 weeks?
I don't know, but he's still doing good. I think he's
Fair,
beating me, so he's being probably both for us apart from Sam. So yeah,
yeah, fair play to the lad, to be fair. Um, Villa. So assets from here, I've organised these by form. Um, Watkins seems to be, you know, quite far and away the best option here. Obviously, got a return against Bournemouth. Wish I just brought him in last week instead of waiting a week and banking a transfer. To be honest, um, do we look outside of Watkins, Sam, or anywhere else across that front three behind? So the three behind him. Where do you sit with Villa assets?
I'm happy with looking at Villa. Yeah, I was looking at Watkins, Rogers. Not too much in defence. It seems like Dean's got more play recently, but he's always a risk to be kind of subbed quite early.
Yeah, I was
Cash
looking.
potentially also, yeah.
I was looking at Cash. That was one of my potential thoughts. He seems to be starting every week, and you know what he's like, the Polish right back. You know what he's like. He seems to return as well occasionally. Um, well, how do you feel about the Rodgers and maybe someone like an Asensio now that maybe Ramsey's is obviously suspended? Where do you sit maybe at that point, Barry, across those three lads behind Watkins?
I think Asensio is probably going to be a shout for people as well. His ownership's quite low, and as we mentioned, Aston Villa, you need to target him because obviously Tottenham at home, it's a green fixture all day long. I'm a bit dubious about the Man U fixture. I know you've said it, but it's the last home fixture,
Don't
and
matter.
there's something against that I'm a bit edgy about because usually they turn up on the last home fixture. So for me, I think I would probably just go for the attackers, even though I do like Cash at right back is playing regular, where Digne's in and out the team with Matson.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Ensensio is a safe look, and there's another differential as well at 2.7% owned. So yeah, I think he's on my differential draft.
Do you BA is on my obviously on my list thing essentially. Sam, do you play the draft version of the?
I do. It's been up and down this year. I play every year, yeah, in a nice league. So yeah, Villa themselves have been in and out all year. Yeah, but probably one of the teams that's been most in and out all year.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially with the defensive. I've had Cash, I've had Digne, I've had Rogers all season.
Mhm.
Martinez for a little bit in goal. Yeah,
These sorts of players are when I look at like a McGinn or someone along those lines who's going to play. They're like them perfect draft players for like 2 weeks to punt. But how do you feel about? Are we obviously looking at Tielemans? But is he injured, Tielemans?
I believe so, yes.
yeah. Bailey as well has always been one that kind of has a little bit of
Yes.
streak
Yes,
of form. He's always been in and out. And then he'll get injured or he won't play for a while. Yeah, I agree. Villa's definitely one of those teams. I mean, is Watkins going to be on penalties?
well, because sometimes, Rashford's obviously not there. Tielemans sometimes takes him, so I'd assume it's Watkins.
That's a
I say
great shout.
sometimes.
And Ensensio missed two, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he's not going to be on him.
Yeah, yeah, true. For me, I think someone like Watkins, he's less than 20% owned. I feel like he's going to be maybe even a little bit of a differential in that top group when it comes down to the week. We've looked at a couple of teams, right? A couple of teams, and both of the times their managers have been at the top of the form guide. How have you felt about the Assman chip this season, Sam, and the power of it and the format of it? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I don't mind if they keep it. I think it's quite a cool little extra chip that we can do and a really good opportunity to get quite a lot of points if you play it right.
Mhm.
I think just this year maybe it was a little bit confusing, kind of just throwing it in halfway through or not really being clear of how we best use it.
Mhm.
Probably been a challenging one for podcasts like yourself. It's not really been like standard podcast material to run
Yeah.
through the tips. We've got this like extra thing in, so it kind of yeah, it threw a bit of a spanner in the works. But I did okay. I transferred manager out every week for 3 consecutive weeks.
Nice.
I wish I waited. I kind of a lot of people waited till Palace were on that small run when they were kind of playing everybody above. Would have been nice to have caught that wave, but I didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did the back-to-back doubles for Howe. and that worked out really nicely. To be fair, it was. I mean, if anything, the Assman chip actually saved the second half of my season. It's why I'm 131k. It's because I nailed the picks. I got like, I will look at it for the end of season review, but I got like 40 points or something or more from 3 game weeks. It was crazy in terms of numbers. So, but yeah, it seems very powerful, and a lot of people obviously are playing it now. But yeah, Emery potentially is a good
Mm.
shout for that as well. If we switch back then to the fixtures, Chelsea have got Man United next, but then Forest away. So they've got a game there against Man United at home, which is on a Friday night at Stamford Bridge before the Europa League final. I mean, open goal win for Chelsea. Then they've got one of the biggest games of the season against Forest away. But Forest seem to be a little bit out of form, but that is at the City ground. Should we be looking at any Chelsea assets, Baz, at all? Or should we be staying clear of them because we're just not quite sure exactly how it's going to sit and also who to invest in?
I think Jackson's out as well, so they got no centre forward. And Kunku was like pushed to the side and says, "Right, actually, you're not going to play for me ever again," kind of thing. Are they going to bring him back for it? I don't think so. I think Neto might be like the false nine striker, so he could be a good shout to bring in. Madueke will start. Obviously, Sancho can't play. But another guy who's been in and out of the points quite regular is Enzo Fernandez.
Mhm.
I think he's a very good option at 4% owned. Yes, he does play a bit behind, and obviously as a holding midfielder, but he does push on quite a lot, especially when Lavia and Casado's in midfield as well. That have been playing quite a lot. He's more of a like a Declan Rice box to box kind of player. So I think it's a difficult one, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Enzo.
Yeah, he's a fantastic show. He's absolutely on that list of draft players. You know, he's that sort of again one of those players who's been in and out of draft teams all season. Where would you be investing across that front line, Sam, if you were going to take a punt on a Chelsea asset?
Neto, probably. But if I had to get someone, I'd probably go more safe and maybe go Palmer. Uh,
Mm.
I last home game of the season. They are fighting to kind of stay up where they are. Potentially go safe also in defense. Cucurella has been kind of in and out of the form recently. Scored a few goals consecutively.
Yeah, great
But
hair, great hair.
yeah, he's like a bit like Diego Costa. He can either score two or get sent off. So it's
Yeah,
like, um, yeah, I'd say Palmer. I did put Palmer in for kind of some of the discussion later as who maybe I would like to have in my team if I needed a Chelsea player. Yeah.
yeah, fair enough. I don't blame you for that one either as well. He just he looks great as well, doesn't he, Palmer? He's just a cut above all of them when you watch them play. Um, Ipswich and Leicester obviously a couple of weird teams. Ipswich have good fixtures. Problem is, I just don't know where if I was going to punt on any of these players, especially again in the draft format of the game, who I'd buy. I mean, like Delap seems weirdly in and out of team and not in great form, and then obviously United and I'm pole position to buy him classically. Um, I just don't know. I don't know where I'd invest. Anyone to mention, Baz, from maybe Ipswich or Leicester to trying to group them two
I'll,
horrendous
I'll,
teams
I'll
together?
I'll pick two. Obviously, one of them is me under one shout, and so he looked really good. Spurred obviously the crowd on as well when he was taking on a few players as well. Could say Amari Hutchinson maybe. He looks another decent shout. But for Leicester, I think there's only one man really to talk about. Obviously, there's 2 games left. You know, I'm going to say Vardy. There's no party without him, is there? So yeah, I think he'd be one that I'll be looking at.
Yeah, lovely. 4.9%, obviously, I think on everyone's list for differential draft later on as well. Anyone to pick out for yourself, Sam? Anyone from these two great clubs?
Not really. There's a reason they're down at the bottom. But I think yeah, Vardy. I think it'd be quite cool. Last game at home for Leicester, going for 200 goals.
Yeah.
Saying a story to be written there, but I kind of hope he doesn't do super well because I know a lot of people are bringing him in for the nostalgia pick. Uh,
Yes.
so I don't know if he scores and gets sent off, I wouldn't mind that. They kind of balance it out a little bit. But
Yeah, just like scores a pen and then punches someone in the face, like that sort of last game
Or
fun.
do a Cantona-esque.
yeah, yeah, I won't be bringing him in. That's for sure. But for those who are kind of want to have a bit of fun at the end of the season, I think that's the pick to go for.
Yeah, I agree with that, and also again a good draft pick to strikers on short form. So
Yeah.
short in players that we have to pick from, of course. A couple of interesting clubs the next two to talk about. Liverpool and Man City. So the two that were obviously tipped to go up there with Arsenal for the title race at the beginning of the season. Well, to be fair, I didn't tip Liverpool at all. It was going to be Man City and Arsenal, but anyway, whatever. They're both playing teams that are. I mean, I suppose Bournemouth and Brighton do have that top eight still to play for. But then two teams that don't. Like, where would you invest now, Baz, if you were going at either of these clubs?
I, I'm gonna say it, even though I don't like the player. For Liverpool, Gakpo. I think
Yeah,
he's starting as a centre forward. Scored. He's
yeah.
got back-to-back returns. I think he's looking back on the form before he got his injury. I think he's the one. Fortunately, I do like Jota, but obviously Gakpo's returning the goods and he's starting. So for me, it'd be him. Any of them front three really for Liverpool. Diaz gets in amongst the goals, and obviously everyone's got Salah. Um, Unless you're doing a little bet against yourself, not bringing anyone in, such as my D front differential team that's got no one over 10% owned. But yeah, for me, it'd be any of them from three, and maybe even Bradley. Maybe might score more, but I can't really see a lot of clean sheets in them games, to be honest.
They feel like weird games, don't they? Sam, same question to you across Liverpool and City.
Yeah, I think if I was going to bring someone in for a bit of fun or trying to catch up, I'd say probably Gakpo. If I didn't have Salah, I probably wouldn't. I don't know if I'd bring him in. Obviously, he's chasing a few records.
Mm.
Um, it's, I would go for some other players around that price range. I think this week, if I need to bring somebody in for 1 week,
Such as Palmer.
um,
Mhm.
yeah, Palmer, the team after obviously De Bruyne, I would probably want to bring in if you haven't got him. Last home game for City, potentially, right? Unless
Yes.
he swings in the contract. But
Mhm.
I think that's a kind of a team that we probably, I would say pick City over Liverpool at the minute. But yeah, Bradley, I would stay away from as well because I think there's going to be some more playing time for Trent with it kind of fading out a little bit, even if he is getting booed. It could be
Well,
playing more.
I think that segues. So I was going to touch on a couple of the things from the weekend. I had the elbows to talk about, but the Trent booze that now Jamie Carragher's obviously telling Liverpool fans how they should be now, rather than telling us all not what we should be telling them how to feel. Anyway, I'm all very complicated around his emotions. How did you feel about how do you feel about Liverpool fans booing Trent, Sam? Like how what's your overriding opinion on the whole situation?
I think it's daft. I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, right? But I'm not at the game. I'm very rarely go to games anymore, so I kind of not as close to kind of what's going on or the action or kind of the feelings. But I mean, what a player! What a lot he's achieved. Liverpool boy. I mean, it's probably been on the cards for a while, right? Of kind of looking and kind of moving over to a different league and kind of following some of the other dreams that he's got. I think it's fine. It's all
Yeah.
part of football. It is a massive shame. It is a massive shame. But I think it'll be a kind of a different sentiment the last game of the season. If I'm
Do,
honest.
do you because the debate's been sort of rife over here, like about is it Trent's fault or the club's fault? Basically, I think maybe that's not quite the right line to take, but is it a case of the club didn't offer him a new contract 2 seasons ago, and it's the club's fault for not, or is it Trent's fault because he's seen this the whole time and he's sort of run his contract down and he's gonna get his move? Do you blame the club basically a little bit for the way they've handled it?
Nah. I mean, it's his childhood club, right? Of course, the club still needs to make decisions. I think he's a footballer. You get to choose kind of what you want to do after your contract's ended. I think I'm not quite sure of the ins and outs of the relationship, obviously, since I know obviously it's been on the cards for a couple of years and since the first time round. But I blame the club. I mean, he's had his desire to leave for a period of time now. So I think just have to crack on. I think we'll be all right.
Oh, you will be. I mean, you'll be better defensively, but I mean, the attacking returns are obviously. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, his returns are better than most creative midfielders, but he gets dribbled past double the amount of times of any other wing back, doesn't he? Really? So you get the peaks and the drops. I agree with you though, and I'm a United fan, so anything negative to say about Liverpool's normally pretty good for me, but. I'm not really like that as a fan, to be fair. I actually don't blame either party. I think it's totally fine both ways, and I think it's a really tough decision for both, isn't it? Really.
I think he should stay. I don't agree, but it is what it is. I think I guess I'm kind of over it. I guess that's the difference.
I like that. I'm over it. Yeah, I talked about it with a friend of mine who's a Liverpool fan in the office at work, and I was like, try put myself in Trent's shoes. Like I've won everything at this club. They're my boyhood club. I'm probably going to become the captain full time in 2 years when Van Dijk stops there. I'm like, if I was United, would I ever leave United? And I'm like, but then I've got Real Madrid, who are, I've got one career and one chance and one opportunity as a footballer to live this career and life. I'd probably be pretty torn actually about what I would do, even as someone who's a fan of the football club. So that's why I don't blame him so much. But I like that. But I like that as a Liverpool fan. But it's the wrong decision, Trent. I like that, Sam.
Yeah.
I like that you stick by your club at that point. I think that's quality. Yes. Anyway, City, uh, assets
Well,
wise,
one thing about Liverpool,
oh, go on.
what about Szoboszlai as a gamble?
Yeah, I mean potentially as a midfield. I think if I was going to gamble on one, it would be Gakpo. But yeah, I don't mind him as a midfield gamble. Again,
They
he's
rotate a
probably
lot. There's a lot of rotation at the minute now, the end of the season, tired legs.
yeah,
You could
but
argue with most of them then, can't you? With Diaz getting dropped for and Gakpo going to the left and Jota playing and so
Mm,
on. So it's a free for all at the back end. They've got nothing ready to play for. They're champions, so they
yeah,
could play these string players like Harvey Elliott might get a game and people like that. So, but I thought Szoboszlai's looked pretty decent.
I think he's
mm.
looked good all season, hasn't he, to be fair. And they'll want him in his Liverpool because they'll do the new kits, won't they, towards the end of the season, and they'll want him in that kit because he's their only player from. Is it? He's a Hungary he plays for. Yeah, so he's the money in Hungary. So they want they want like him in that kit or whatever to sell it. So yeah, Liverpool City. De Bruyne was mentioned, of course. Mamush got dropped, then came on, then at the bar. Haaland's obviously come back. The only one thing about them is obviously they've got the FA Cup final, haven't they, on Saturday, and then their games midweek after it. Um, I don't know if that's going to affect them or not because they've got an extra fixture, and obviously it's a massive game for them. It's the only chance they've got of winning a trophy this season. Cup final, Bars, who wins? Palace, City.
Man City,
Score?
3-1.
Ooh, high scoring. Sam?
2-0 City.
Yeah, I think 1-0 City. I think it's going to be a rubbish game. That's that's my prediction. I think they'll pass them to death, and then Guardiola will score from a corner. It'll be one of those games. I hope it's an amazing game. I really do. I'm going to actually watch it as well, which would be nice. So, but yeah, it'd be lovely to get to that point. Uh, and obviously, it'd be really nice to see Palace win, from my perspective.
Mm.
Uh, Last team I wanted to look at was the team that really seems to have dropped off towards the end of the season, which is Forest, because they've got West Ham next and Chelsea, and obviously a lot of people bought Chris Wood. Um, what to do with Forest assets, Sam? What obviously I'd have thought hold this week, but like buy some, not buy some. What do you think?
If you got him, I'd say hold him. If I was going to bring anybody in, I'd bring in a defender, one of the fullbacks. But I guess the reason Forest's been near the top all season, they haven't been on it for the last couple of weeks, kind of struggling at the back, not holding the fort. Obviously, the defenders are injured. But I think Aina is going to be getting an assist at least this week.
Baz, thoughts?
I probably would stay clear of him. Morello's still out, and Morata and Mikhailovic haven't got the relationship that them pair have. I think the only one player that I put, well, two players I probably look at is obviously Chris Wood because he scored, and Gibbs White.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
So and maybe Elanga, but obviously I'm saying I'm only going to pick one and I end up picking three. But obviously Scott knows about that. So yeah, so I think probably if I have to say one, but the problem is obviously midfielders there's loads of options.
hmm
Gibbs White.
Let's run through position by position then to try and wrap up the conversation about players to invest in. So I'm assuming goalkeeper transfers are very bottom of everyone's list. But goalkeepers or defenders to mention then of the teams we've gone down, any that were on your list, Barry, that are really singing to you as the main ones that you want to buy if you were going to buy them.
I mentioned two earlier, and I think they're probably the only pair that I'll probably look at is Pickford and Martinez.
Yeah, defenders.
Cash, Coyote maybe, and Guardiola if you haven't got him because he's playing left back now because Akanji's back. So maybe some more attacking returns there.
Yeah, nice shout. Sam, any other players to add on that, or ones that you think are probably the best out of the list that Barry's just said there?
I think Guardiola is what I put at the top of my list. Potentially, if you've already got him and you want another defender, maybe even Diaz.
He's been returning, getting bonus as well, Diaz. He's been a really good player to have in the diff draft. I do agree with that. He's in my draft team. Yeah, good pick. I've not mentioned him yet.
Potentially, but outside of that, probably not. Kukurea, maybe if you haven't got him, potentially, but no, not really anyone standing out outside of that.
I had Kukurea and Cash actually were on my list in terms of players who I think might get returns. I like the Matty Cash pick in particular. I think he's someone that not a lot of people won't think about. But yeah, I think like, I've already got Guardiola. So if I was going to pick a defender, probably to put in the team, it would be Cash. An absolute plethora of midfielders: your Rodgers, Asensio, Shardas, and Boomers, Enzos, Palmers, Netos, Gakpo's a striker, Kevin De Bruyne's, Gibbs Whites. Sam, give me your top couple of midfield picks for the last 3 game weeks of the season.
I'm gonna go for KDB
Yeah.
and Bomo
Mm-hmm.
and Palmer.
Boom, Palmer. Picks of an FPL veteran right there.
Say,
Yeah.
It's, it's how we all think. I've played this game for like over 10 years, and I'm just like, I have to try and be like, no, don't just go for the safe people all the time. Been bitten too often, Sam. That's the problem.
no.
Um, Baz, midfielders,
I'm going to go for differential ones then.
shot.
NCCO, obviously. El Canoes and Kevin Sharder.
Okay.
I like the El Canoe shout.
I did
Um,
like the Gibbs White shout. I thought maybe go for that. If I needed a differential, I'd go Gibbs White.
I do like the Gibbs
Yeah,
White.
but I was
Yeah,
going for really, really low owns because I'm sad like that.
yeah. I think the other ones to mention outside of it, yeah. So did you say Asensio then, Baz?
I did, mate, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you did. So he was on my list of difference, obviously, and Shada's on there. But yeah, I like the Enzo or Neto pick. I think the Enzo Neto picks are really quite,
Mhm.
especially if Neto might play like through the middle. He's got a good finish on him. Yeah, they'd be the ones I'd consider outside of that. And then strikers: Watkins, Visser, Vardy, Gakpo. Thoughts, Baz? Give us your
I'll just do top two. I think it's Watkins one and Gakpo two.
Watkins and Gakpo. Sam.
I disagree. I'd say Watkins is my number one.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
did have Haaland as well. Since he's back. Um,
He did look good as well.
Anyone see the highlights, by the way? Did he look all right?
Yeah,
I didn't see the highlights of the
his
game.
movement was class. It's just the ball wasn't coming in as quick enough.
yeah,
So yeah, so I think he was
didn't
just
have much.
missing that.
Every corner, every cross, every free kick was hung high at the back post, and he was more of a someone to try and keep the ball in rather than try and get on the end of it and score. Almost as much as that was what was planned. So yeah, but as you say, he's always going to be in the right place if you put a good ball in. So I'm going to say him because I'm going safe again.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, mate. Just trying to message Scott about doing differential draft because unfortunately he's still stuck in traffic. But never mind. We've got a little bit of time to talk about a couple of topics that just to give him an opportunity to be able to get here. We talked about the Trent boos. Um, United and Spurs. From a footballing perspective, Sam, 'cause you're a football. You're a footballing man. Here he is, man. Because you're a footballing man. Um, is there drop off in the league understandable because of the quality of the Premier League and the fact if you're not 100% there, you're going to lose some games and they're focusing on the Europa League? Or is it an unprofessional disgrace? What do you think?
It's unacceptable. Teams who are before the season saying they're going to probably contend for the title, and yeah, I'm not really close to getting relegated, but as close as not getting relegated as you can probably be. I think it's shameful. I think the stature of the clubs, the amount of money that they invest, the type of players that they attract, I think it's unacceptable. I mean, everyone's changed manager before. United, right? It's been an excuse for a while now. I think they need to kind of United, especially. I think they're not buying the right players. I think they're buying a lot of good players that are really good in other leagues, really good in other clubs as well.
Yeah.
Things just aren't kind of fitting together very well for United, which is fine by me. Um, and then Spurs if I'm honest, was a big surprise this year. I don't think he's going to be there for very long, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I was very disappointed. We talk about Trent. I was very disappointed with Kane. I thought kind of like who wouldn't want to go to be the top scorer in the Premier League, and then maybe he knew something we didn't know. So probably the right decision, the way it's gone. But yeah, I think it's probably a little bit embarrassing.
Oh,
To be honest.
absolutely embarrassing. It's horrendous. I think one of the things we've got to remember that we all forget because there's this Europa League final coming up, and one of them's going to get Champions League football, and it's going to save their season. The other one's not, and they're going to come 16th or 17th. So think about how bad that is for a top six club. Think about how bad that is. Like both managers should absolutely be fired for being that bad. Amarin's going to get given grace because he's coming halfway through the season and he's the first manager that the new owners have picked. But like, if Ange loses that final, there's no way in hell that he's going to be managing Spurs at the beginning of next season. But isn't he also one game away from giving one of the most epic lines ever in an interview at the beginning of this season of "I always win a trophy in my second season"? I mean, can you imagine if he does? Um,
I think he's going anyway, isn't he?
that was the question I was going to. Do you think he is? 'Cause I'm not sure if he wins that title if he goes. I'm not sure. So you think he's done anyway?
I think so.
Hmm.
I think so. I don't think. Of course, it changes the outcome of the season, but it really hasn't changed how the season's gone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
It's unless they really are seeing that there's going to be some change of form and new players and kind of new excitement and vibration. Like, I don't see that. I think he's out motivated his persona. If you know what I mean, it's kind of like I don't see the players reacting to kind of what really has been his kind of character.
Mhm.
No, I think he's gone.
Baz, your thoughts on the lot?
My thoughts on a lot is how strong's the Premier League? You've got these two teams, 16th and 17th in the Europa League final, and they're shocking in the Premier League. So it's a massive gulf in class. So that means like Brighton or Bournemouth could get to the Europa League final next year when they get to it. So it just shows obviously how strong and how competitive the Premier League is, and that's why it's the best league in the world. But looking at it on the other side of it is, yes, it is embarrassing for them. And like you said, if one of them doesn't win it, oof, yeah, I think,
But when one of them doesn't win it, one of them
yeah,
is going to have that
yeah,
season.
exactly. So it's it's a very, very bad season. Was it 20 losses for Tottenham this season?
Oh, something like that.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
saw I saw a stat that PSG have won more games against Premier League teams this year than Tottenham.
I'm not saying, to be fair, yeah, well done with the Villa and Arsenal games.
Same
So,
maybe. Yeah, yeah.
it's um it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
But listen, I think the crazy thing as a United fan. is I literally sit here and we got beat obviously 2-0 by West Ham at the weekend, who were beneath us, the only team beneath us in the table that could still pass us, obviously, other than Spurs. And I was just laughing. Like the goals went in, and I was like, this is just funny because we are so not at the races. We are completely, our minds are fully in Bilbao. And the lack of professionalism from these players is horrendous. But I bet we beat Spurs. We're that type of team. I bet we win the final. We make Champions League, and weirdly, like everyone just tries to forget about it. That's what I think will happen. Who wins the Europa final, Sam?
I have a quick question for you first. How do you think those individual players that are coming back next year are going to do? Like your Anthony's, your Rashford,
Mm.
do they still have a future?
Well, Rashford will get sold because of the narrative around him, which is absolutely hilarious. He scored one goal from outfield, which isn't against a championship team in his loan spell, but apparently he's rejuvenated, revitalised, and he's the best thing since sliced bread. So thank you, the media. You're going to get us 40 million quid for Rashford. So he'll go and he'll move on. Um, Anthony, I feel a bit sorry for him, because how good has he done at Betis? He has been on fire. He's sort of been the player that you saw that we were should have bought for 40 million, not 90 million. Um, I think he still has a future with the club if he wants to have one. Um, Rashford's that funny one though, isn't he? Sorry, by the way, I see Anthony getting sold or going back out on loan again though.
Mm.
But Rashford's the funny one because he's a bit like he's kind of our Trent, if you know what I mean. He's our homegrown talent who we all should sort of love and adore. Um, he's just the most frustrating footballer I've ever watched in my entire life playing, like watching football, because he has world class ability, a world class ability, but he's not a good player, like as in like overall and overarching. So it's just, and also I think he wants to come back. If we get Champions League football, he gets 100% of his wages. It's on 350 grand a week if he comes back. And he's got a decent contract length. He could stay. Yeah, but I think he's done. I think Rashford's done of all of them. Um, one more question before we do, because Scott's not going to be able to make it on for differential draft, unfortunately. There's been an accident on his way home. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Sam, so you're prepared for Sam, for your differential draft dream five-a-side team for the week. That's what I'm going to ask you for. And then me and Baz and Scott will do ours off air. But I don't want to ruin any preparation that you've done because I do want to know who your best five-a-side team is going to be. And while you may be looking at that, Baz, Elbowgate. So you described Jackson's elbow as a brainless red card.
Yeah.
Um, Tyrone Mings broke someone's jaw, but didn't get any punishment for it with his elbow across Alex Scott. Um, red card. Did you see that first of all?
I did, yeah. It was a
Yeah,
joke.
yeah,
Absolute joke. It looks, Tim, yes, he's going to try and shoot ball, but you usually have a flat arm when you're trying to block the ball, not a full-on elbow and go like that. It's assault. He should be getting charged. It's a joke. If he does that in the street, that's it.
yeah.
I couldn't believe it, the decision. I was like, yeah, I wanted Aston Villa to keep a clean sheet because I had Digne in my team. But, um,
FPL over FPL over the law.
yeah, exactly. I was like, how is this not red? But and then Jackson's, it was just stupid. Looked at him twice and gone, right, I'm not going to win the ball. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump in with him, leave with my forearm, not the elbow, with my forearm, just to leave a bit on him to know that I'm there. It's not like an old-fashioned centre forward play. But with VAR around, you know you're going to get sent off for it. Alan McCoy was like, yeah, he's going off for this, definitely. And then like the other commentator was like, oh no, he's not, no, he's not. And then actually goes, yeah, he is, and then both agreed, yeah, he's going now. So
Yeah, it was.
yeah, I just couldn't believe it. And then also, to throw in the Brentford versus Ipswich rugby match was brilliant. I thought they were trying to get the Lions um, get onto their playing with for the Lions because how many rugby tackles they were going inside that box. It was just crazy. I bet Phil Allen was loving it being a rugby man. He was like, "Oh yeah, this is great. I'm watching football week in week out." So yeah, yeah, it was quite crazy how some of them weren't even giving us pens.
Yeah, the Tyrone Mings thing, 'cause I think he's just a horrendous human, Tyrone Mings. I'm going to throw it right out there. When he stamped on Zlatan's head and he took someone out, he could have killed him, to be honest. He's no remorse. And then I think you just know his character. He's just not a good human. So for me, it was super deliberate, and I think that's a bit of a reputation thing on top of that. But I mean, it's an absolute red card, no doubt about it for me. And then Jackson's just an idiot. Like, I know Botman like didn't jump, and maybe he expected him to jump. I don't know, but like he looked at him, did this, lifted his elbow up, and then just went like, "What are you doing?" It's mental. It didn't help that I had him in draft, which really helped get the -2 for from that side. Um, Sam, anything to add on that front? So
No, no, no. End of the season, silly time in it. I think.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah, he wanted his flip-flops on, I think.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it feels. It definitely means he's like, oh, I don't get to play the rest of this year. Brilliant.
I got a
Um,
discount on Jet too. Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. I don't think any of these boys need to fly jet two, do they? Let's do captains, and then we'll come to Sam's differential fives team. Uh, Deadline, lads. It's a Friday deadline. Friday, everyone. Friday deadline. 6 p.m. because Spurs got their game moved. Jammy sods against Aston Villa and. So basically, Aston Villa are going to beat Spurs and Chelsea are going to beat Man United on Friday. So invest heavily in those guys. Um, Everton, and both on Sky, which is great for TV, of course. Everton Southampton early kickoff, 12 o'clock kickoff rather than 12:30 on Sunday. We've got obviously Saturday is the FA Cup final. Um, West Ham Forest. It's also what's it? It's a playoff. There'll be playoff games, weren't there? West Ham Forest, Brentford Fulham, Leicester Ipswich, Arsenal Newcastle, which is a later kickoff, and then it's Brighton Liverpool on Monday Night Football, and Tuesday is Palace Wolves and City Bournemouth. Baz, who is your armband on right now?
My old man's on actually on Eze, just in great form. But the only thing that I'm questioning is rotation risk. Will he start because of FA Cup?
Hmm?
So yeah, so for that reason, I'll probably be looking at bringing in one of these other players that we touched upon. Maybe get rid of Isaac and get a Watkins and put the armband on him. Maybe, but I got crucified last time I brought a player in and captained him. So it's a tricky one on that, but it's a safe punt putting them on, especially against Spurs, who might even rotate the keeper again and put Kinski in goal.
Well, they won't
So,
play. They won't play the back four. I was speaking to a
oh,
Spurs fan
yeah,
about it. That they'll rest Porro, Udogie, Romero, Van de Ven, and probably Vicario all won't play because they're so injury prone. All of them. They'll rest them for the final. They'll have the reserve defence in. So yeah,
well,
Watkins is
that's
where
that
my
that's
armband's
that's
going to
me
be.
nailed. Then my transfer's done. Then Isaac out and Watkins is in, and captain's on Watkins.
Yeah,
Done.
mine's probably going to be Mateta out and Watkins in and Captain Watkins. That's where I'm going to be at the moment. Sam, anything and captains? Where are you at the moment? Where's your armband?
This is fantastic content. We all agree we're going to bring Watkins in captain. No, right now I'm on ADB, and then the other option potentially I was thinking maybe Salah Monday night game, but probably going to bring in Watkins and put the armband on him.
Yeah, I think at the moment
Got a
my
bargain then.
my my armband's on Mbumo without any transfers against Fulham because I think Fulham are a weird team. So that's where my armband is at the moment. But I'll be bringing Watkins in to captain him. Um, yeah, quite a few different options again, which is nice. It's nice that it's not just Salah versus Haaland like sometimes it has been in FPL history.
I go from a rogue shot again.
Yeah, go on then, Baz. Why not?
Beto, get it on him.
Love it. I don't mind that at all. He returned again. Better's absolutely on our list for differential five-a-side when we do it later. That's for sure. That's later on off there. Sam, let's wrap up with your differential draft five-a-side team for the week. Um, have you
Yeah,
got your list? Run us through it.
I thought there was going to be some competition, so I kind of tried to even it out a bit. So I've gone for Kepa in goal.
Okay.
Um, I've gone for a bit of a gamble here. Reece James.
Ooh.
I think he might play. Vardy,
Yes.
Shada,
Yeah.
and Neto.
Yeah. I think when I look at that team, that front three. Absolutely really high up my list. I like the James shout. James was actually on my list as well.
He's on
Um,
mine as well.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's him or Semedo. I was looking at Semedo. He was on
All
there.
right.
I like I
I
like
think
Semedo.
Palace away, but rotation maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And I suppose you had to get an under one because I think from my perspective, and give it. I like the maybe going for like a Stellar check or something at 0.4 keeper. Yeah, and to then maybe get cash in, to try and get my under one involved in that, and that's maybe the only difference I'd make to that really. I like the front three. Baz, anything to throw in, Mr. Differential King, before we wrap up?
No, I like it, and I don't want to put any spoilers out there and give you any tips for later. So yeah,
I'm
I'll
catching you at such a great rate of knots, mate. I am.
exactly, yeah. So I'm trying to keep that out. I've just been absolute shocking. So I did really well in the differential draft at the start of the season, and I'm doing shocking at them. It's a bit like my FPL season, but different way around. So yeah,
Mine's
it's
followed my FPL season perfectly. Start terribly, lose it before the halfway point of the season, stand no chance of winning anything, and then do really well in the second half, which is completely pointless. And that's that's literally how my season's gone. And I think it's how my season's gone the last 3 years. I probably need to start thinking about better about how I start. But right, I need to go pick the kids up from nursery. So, Sam, thank you so much for joining us this week. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks very much for having me. I've been listening to you guys making fun of me not going to win the league, and you're right. So I thought it was time to come on.
I've loved your insight, and it's been great to hear. Barry, thank you so much for joining us.
thank you.
And don't forget to follow us on social media, All in Football Pod, All in Football P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Don't forget to like the video on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. And also don't forget to give us 5 stars where you get your podcast from, and click the little bell icon so you'll get the notification through as soon as I've uploaded it after I've had a beer later on. That's all for me. Goodbye for now, and good luck, green hours all round.